Yeah, the Excluded Middle coming at you from the bunker down under. Ryan with a special guest this evening, or today, or this afternoon, whatever you want to call it.
We might air this at 2 a.m.
Yeah, maybe 2 a.m. I don't know. Wait and see.
Hit the home button on that screen.
Special guest Jeffrey. Get you introduced before we move on to something else, man. You know what I mean? Where do you want home screen?
Yeah, just on the hit home. There you go.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm figuring it out, man. Go ahead.
Maybe turn my mic up a little.
Yep.
All right, thanks, buddy.
How are we looking? Sound good, Ryan?
I have no idea.
I mean, we had all this figured out. Ryan's one job, which is everything. And he missed it today, man. But he pulled it together last minute, came out through the clutch, and here we are. Here we are.
It's relatively simple to have just two of us on here.
Yeah. We're throwing in a third, which definitely threw a kink in it. And, I think we're set up good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you feeling, Jeffrey? How you feeling, sir?
Pretty good. A little tired from work, but...
Yeah. Shoot, my day just gets started when I get off work. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on somebody else's time. Kind of how I view it to a point is I would be on somebody else's time from 7 to 3:30. It's still my time, you know what I mean? I try to make the best of it, but it's not technically what I would actually do. So the moment that bell starts, oh, dude, I get a rush of just boosh, like, yeah, let's go, baby. It's my time now. Like, let's go.
Oh, yeah, I need to get that way.
Yeah, you do, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But still, at the same time, you don't want to get to a point where you work. I don't know that necessarily work should be fun. I don't know, maybe. But
Jeffrey, do you have fun at work?
Oh, I love my job.
Dude.
I have the most fun ever. I work with some of the best people ever.
See, so that's good. See, my work is enjoyable. I guess I don't know necessarily fun, but it is enjoyable. That's how I kind of view things.
Oh, I love it there.
Yeah, that's good then. So you're doing what you love to do.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
high school wood shop all day.
High school wood shop all
yeah.
day. Yeah, and a
I
carpenter.
think that sounds like a fairly accurate representation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you do woodwork.
Oh, somewhat. Yeah, commercial type style. We do cabinets for like large scale, like hospitals, schools, stuff like that. Small jobs every once in a while.
Oh, that's cool, man. So you do like chairs, tables, like what's
Just cabinets and tabletops.
cabinets and tables. So if I need some new cabinets in the kitchen, you're the man, huh?
No, I wouldn't go there for that. Not quite
You
there.
want some stuff that looks like a Dylan's checkout lane, maybe,
I got you there.
Yeah, he said, I got you.
or the school's teachers lounge, with the sink
Yeah.
and all the cabinets.
You know, yeah.
Might throw a free disability sink in there or something.
Oh, yeah, little disabilities. I've always wanted a urinal in my bathroom at
No,
the
you
house.
don't.
Dude, that'd be so cool.
Yeah. Hey, I had a father-in-law. He's passed away. You know what I mean? Here, some years back, couple years back. But when I went over to his house they had moved, and I went over to his house, and went to use the bathroom. And dude, I kid you not, a urinal sitting in there. I was like,
yeah.
"You are the man, sir."
Travis
The
Crowe
man.
put one in when they built their house.
Yeah.
The first time we went there, he was so excited. I was like, where's the bathroom? And he's like, use the master bath. And I was like, no, man. I was like, I'll just use like the regular bathroom. He's like, no, I insist. You must use it. And you walk in, and to the right's the toilet, and to the left's the urinal. And then you like go through the walk-in closet, and there's the bathtub and shower and stuff. But yeah, he was proud of the urinal.
Oh, yeah.
They are the grossest things ever to put in the house. A guy can barely hit the hole the way it is.
I don't know, man. I like the urinal, man. You
Fix
can't.
that
How do you miss it? How do you miss in the urinal, man? I take that back because when I go into like truck stop bathrooms, you're stopping on the way.
Exactly. Or a bar.
You walk in there and
You
it's just
slip.
like, you slip. It's all over the floor.
A men's
I'm like,
bathroom is the worst place to wear flip flops.
I'm like, how do
dude, I
you
could never.
miss the urinal, dude? It's like right there.
Why are we-
How do you miss?
Anyways,
I don't know, man.
Moving on.
How do you miss a urinal, Jeffrey? Just curious, man. Do you know?
Fix that problem with the horse trough type urinal.
Yeah,
that's how they were in the old days.
For real,
At
like-
the racetracks and stuff,
Oh,
at
yeah.
the fair.
Yeah, going to like football games.
Yeah.
Dude, that is the most awkward situation ever since we're going to talk about this.
Like peeing in a bathtub.
Dude, it's like you are, yeah, exactly. It would be like us sitting right here, maybe even a little closer, and everybody's dudes out there with their junk out and they're peeing in this trough.
My goal
All around you.
always
It's the most
is-
anxiety provoked thing ever.
What? No, you can change all that if you're the one who decides to make it awkward, then that makes you in control. So if you're the one who makes it awkward, you're in control. The other guy, he's just going to look down away like,
Yeah.
Actually,
Well, yeah.
no way he's
But
gonna
look
look at
down the
you.
way, then you're staring at the other dude
Oh,
next
yeah.
to you.
no, I ain't even, this is make it awkward. You're in control.
I don't know. I'm so glad they don't have those really anymore. I think the last one I went into would have been, I mean, you're going back probably.
I don't even know the
I
race.
mean, at
the
least
racetrack,
15,
maybe.
15, 16, maybe. I mean, you're going back some time, maybe even 20 years. Last time I walked into a stadium. I can't remember what stadium I was at when I walked in there, and it was like that. And it was just dudes all around this thing, and I'm just like, that is the most awkward. Yeah, it's awkward. I don't care. And I didn't make it awkward. It's just, maybe I did, but it's just awkward. I
Crossing
don't know.
feet with another man, dude.
Well, yeah, well, then you he said compete with another man, dude. I don't necessarily know
Lord.
it's like that. It's like you just walk in there, and then, you know what I mean? Like, there'll be like a little space right there. Like, a couple guys get done. So you're like, all right, so I go in there. Well, that leaves like this little other gap, and then another dude will kind of brush up next to you, trying to go to the bathroom.
He's got to go.
Yeah.
4 beers in,
You're
dude.
like, you got another dude rubbing up against you, and while you're trying to go to the bathroom, see, Trish is even looking at me all crazy. That's awkward stuff. Trish, go ahead, chime in from the back seats.
Well, yeah, but see, I mean,
Ladies get
within-
their own little stall and everything.
well-
when have you ever gone to the bathroom and had somebody just holding hands with you while you pee?
That's what you got to do to break that
Stall
tension.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah. Hey, will you hold my hand, sir?
I can't get started.
No, I can't get started. Can somebody please turn the faucet on?
Yeah.
Dude, I had an old guy one time at a baseball tournament. I was having trouble getting started, and he walked up and he looked at me. He goes, "Sometimes it thunders before it rains." Farted as loud as he could. Did not break eye contact. Started peeing. Zipped up his zipper. Didn't wash his hands and left the bathroom.
See, You
That
made it
man did
awkward.
not- yeah, that
Made it
man did-
awkward. He was in control.
Oh
It
yeah.
did not feel awkward.
No, dude. He won that situation.
Why are we-
I think
why
I
are we
just
even
left the
talking
bathroom
about this?
too.
I don't know. I don't even know what started on that one, but it's hilarious. It's a
I
hilarious
100%
topic.
blame our new guest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe so. Maybe so.
So what's it like being a dad, Jeffrey, at 18?
Oh yeah, just flip the script.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's it like being a dad at 18?
Most times it's disappointing for parents, but my parents were supportive of it. So it was, but I'm a little bit more mature than most kids that are.
I think you do good. Yeah, I'll admit that. Once you have that kid, it kind of changes everything.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I would say more often than not, usually it does. I don't know. You buckle down, seems to me.
Yeah, I'd say we bring about just like if you're in one of those bathrooms, you make it awkward, or you can make it great, or you can make it not. Same concept, except for taking it that route. But yeah, you know what I mean. I think if you stand up, you own it, you move along, you handle it, your responsibilities, and the only way that can happen is you just continuously do your best, and if you're continuously doing your best, you're gonna perceive the best outcome of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Most High lives within you. You know what I mean? If you are a true believer and you know it, you know what I mean? That higher self lives within inside you. So basically, what comes your way I would say it would be in your favor,
Oh yeah.
good or bad. At that point,
Well, it's always good, right? As Jocko would say.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that goes along with it's good. It's good. You know what I
had
mean?
friends- I had kids relatively young, so I was 20, 21 when Jason was born. Relatively young. I have friends that didn't have their first kids till they were 40. You know what I mean? And the reason they did that is because they wanted to do what they wanted to do till they were ready to have kids. Now, I would say that none of my kids were necessarily planned out well. That's not how any of them came to be about. They just happened. But at the same time, for me, I
Man,
didn't.
I love you, Jeffrey. Glad you made it, man.
am
Glad you
too.
made it, man.
I don't know how you
More than
lived to be
happy.
18, but you did. My
Oh
God.
yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't know that I'd want to be in this place without you, Jeffrey, just so you know. You know what I mean?
I don't know that I'd want to be having kids right now.
Dude, could you imagine? Okay,
40?
yeah. Well, check this out.
Hell
See, this
no.
is how I look at it. Look at this. Like, if you go back, say you go back to I don't even know that you would have to go back to a great grandparent. Probably maybe a grandparent. You might have to go to a great parent. How old are you? You're 18, right?
Yeah.
So you might have to go to a great grandparent.
Oh, Phil's pretty old.
So
Yeah.
well, yeah. So they were having. I mean, my grandma and grandpa. I think they got married at like 16, 17.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Which would be like unheard of right now. Heck, you'd be. I mean, you're looking
in the
at.
United States, it would
That's
be.
what I mean. You're looking at probably some
But marriage
statutory
is-
type
marriage
rich
is-
Yeah.
maybe.
Marriage is somewhat unheard of.
Right,
Period.
right.
You know what I mean?
So you have kids at 18. Well, by the time you're 40, you know what I mean, or or if you have a few more kids, but you won't be having, or I can't say you won't be, but
Well, he's got one on the way.
yeah, exactly. So the chances of you having your nest empty. And by the time you're grown, you're making more money. You're wiser.
That
more
was our
experienced.
thought process.
Yeah.
Too, is that as we're growing, we can grow with our kids and be able to actually do activities with them and be down on the floor and playing 24/7 rather than being like, oh, my back hurts, I can't get down there. Being like, oh, this is wrong or that is wrong. Something like that.
Yeah, I like that too. And then not to mention those kids in those younger years, like as a dad, dude, I don't know that there's anything that you can do. Well, I don't just say that there's anything, so I don't want to put that on there because Ryan will go to the extremes here. But like,
My job.
majority of the things that you do, there's nothing that kid's going to see in you that's going to take him away at those younger years. Like, you can have your mistakes, you can have your mess ups, you can learn to grow, and that kid's still just going to be like, you're going to be his hero or her hero. You know what I mean? You're going to be the man in the life. You know what I mean? And I would say to stand strong on that, stay focused on that, because I mean, as we've talked about in the past, I believe, or at least we have conversations. I mean, that's a lot of the world's issues today, is that father figure, that dad, you know what I mean, is missing in a lot of that child's life. So regardless of what it does, you know what I mean, the fact that you're 18, stepping up into that, understanding that role, and beginning to process that and begin that, I mean, that speaks
That's
so
really
much more
only a
volumes.
stat that plays out in America, by the way. When you look at other nations, so even in America, the least likely to have a divorced parents are Asians, right? And like, I think second or third was Latinos, Hispanics, but they're such family orientated people. And you could go on down the line if you look at like divorce rates and different things, or I mean, there's the percentages are so far apart. I mean, you're looking at a high percentage in the United States and a low percentage most other places in the world.
So you would say other places have that father figure in the
Yes.
home? Yeah. So
Their crimes less, their drug abuse is less.
Wild, right?
I mean, you have to have something to compare a statistic to.
Yes.
And
I
so
agree.
that's how they compare, is they look and say, all right, so they say this is the population of this city and this is a population. I mean, there's statistics, I mean, way out of my thing. I mean, I love thinking that I know, and I have that general knowledge to just be dangerous with it. But when it's in black and white, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of a shame. I mean, a lot of it does get wrapped up into race and racial identities and things. But you can't deny numbers.
Yeah. Dude,
You can try to make it up. That's what they do. They try to make it up. They try to, even right now with politics, I don't know if Jeffrey falls much of that, but they will just keep saying a blatant lie enough times with the expectation that people will start to believe it. And that plays into the church too. That's what they did with heresy. They would repeat the lie over and over, and out of 100, if one or two believe it, then you talk to 100 more and one or two believe it. And you're getting this it's growing, and then all of a sudden those people are, did you hear this? And that's how it happened. That's, you get this
start getting those false flags going on out
It is
there. And I see a lot
100%.
of that today. In fact, false flags,
But
man,
there's
on all
a
kinds of
a
spectrums.
huge attack in America on family.
Yeah, dude. And I was listening to, I can't remember who the heck I was listening to, but they were just talking to other people from others overseas. Just random people. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy or nothing. I don't know that there's any stats to this or anything, but they were just having conversations, and they were talking to like women and men. As far as like multiple partners, as far as relationships, and dude, they were in the amount of physical relationships, sexual relationships they were having overseas was a lot less than what we were having here. Like, they were talking to people that like they were in their 30s. You know what I mean? They were like, well, you have your first, your first one, you lose your virginity to, and then, you'll have the breakup there. Then you may get into another relationship, and then that'll go for a stretch. And then, some of these people that are talking to are typically on like maybe their third or fourth partner, and they were like, 30, 40, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, that's just the way we do it. You know what I mean? Like you actually build relationships. And besides, and then you talk to people here in the States, man, it was like, I mean, it
60,
was,
70.
dude,
It's
unreal,
reaching
man.
numbers,
Like,
yeah.
I almost like, for me, that's sickening, man, because there's in that level of relationship, especially when you are uniting in spirit, body, soul. I mean,
There's a
you
lot
are,
of implications. that
dude,
come
you
with
are
it.
taking on such an act. I mean, that is.
Even look further than
I
morality.
mean, it's divine.
It is-
to a point. You know what I mean? You're taking on a lot when you have that physical.
Even beyond morality, it's dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and dangerous.
I mean, you think of the health risks that are involved are super high. I mean, I remember, and this was years ago, and there was a lot of drug use involved too. Like, but people were just sleeping around, and all of a sudden, like, all my friends have hepatitis.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough, for the most part, through my drug use, that I still had a fairly decent moral gauge, But you wouldn't believe it. I mean, it was like one or two people would be like, "Oh, I got hep," and then all of a sudden, everybody's freaking out, and then they all come back positive.
Man.
And it wasn't just that they were sharing IV drug use, but they were all sleeping around with and that's really what spread that. And I mean, just I don't know, I've encountered a lot of people that it's all the same story, and it's a fair amount that have HIV
Yeah.
that you wouldn't even think of.
Right.
And I mean, I think it's sad, but that's where it talks about scripturally. Sin brings not only this eternal death, but it can bring an untimely death for lots of reasons, which sucks. I mean, we're getting ready to go to an encounter, and some of the guys that are going are going to be, I mean, pretty screwed up probably, And in my mind, I'm like, just the way the world works, like, if they're there, they're running down to some of their last chances. Is kind of my feeling. Some of these guys,
Yeah. Might be the last, man, but while there's breath still in the lungs, man,
Exactly.
breath in the body, I'd
Have
say
to.
you got a chance,
you
man.
have to. That's
As long as
it.
we're breathing, you got the chance,
Yeah.
man. I mean, you can always turn it around, man. Always turn it around, and that's what's so good. That's what I love the utmost, probably, about Christ. If we're going there, is the fact that you can have a complete wreck of a life, and in fact, majority of the time, you'll see God use those people more than others. And it's like, you might be completely broken, you might be completely beat, but in that moment, no one else may be able to work with you in this world, but I know a guy that can, man.
Yeah.
I know someone that can work with you, and then when he steps in, man, he's going to take you over, and he's going to completely probably kill you, and then you're going to become reborn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to have to die to self.
Well, that's the whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the plan.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know. It doesn't always shake out.
Well, because that's a
struggle.
reckoning in itself, man.
Especially if you're in the book a bunch. You know what I mean? Because it is. I mean, and I say it over and over. Like, and I think it's human nature that we'll size ourselves up to someone else before we'll size ourselves up to Scripture, because we can always find someone else that we're doing better than. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I would say that.
Yeah, so
I mean,
Jeffrey,
I think
who
that's just part of the condition.
like who would you size yourself up to as an 18-year-old man, beginning of the fatherhood, bringing little ones in the world? You're on your second now. You got one,
Yeah,
bringing in a second.
I always compare myself to my brother and seeing how he's doing compared to how I'm doing. If he's on the right track, then I'm probably need to do a little bit better.
Yeah. So, okay. So your brother, nice. Yeah, I like your brother too, man. He's awesome, just the same.
He's a character for sure.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Kind of compare yourself to your brother. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
I mean, we've hung out pretty much probably every day since I was born. So
Right. And what's the age difference
Even not
between
by
the two of
choice.
you?
4.5 years, 5
4.5
years.
years. You're the younger one, correct?
I am.
Yeah.
4.5 years ish. I was trying to do the math. Like, what year were you born in? 2006.
A lot of fun memories. Most of my friends are his friends. So
So do you think you'll ever outgrow that?
That circle of friends.
No, because you look up to your brother as a.
Oh,
as
yeah,
a-
I mean, there's-
You know what I
there's-
guess you would always use him as an example. Someone to
Yeah,
look up
yeah,
to,
I mean, there's-
being your older brother, but
There's other people I look up to. I mean,
right.
I can't think of my buddy Aubin. Actually, I look up to him
Yeah.
on woodworking and
Listen,
stuff like that. And
But not his dad.
listen, my dad's really smart, and I try to.
waiting on.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
base.
okay with that.
I mean, I base a lot of my mentality off of your mentality of just waiting and seeing what happens before you analyze anything. Kind of
Yeah.
take a step back before you let your emotions take hold of anything.
It's funny watching things play out because, like, even Jason came and got on a mic, and I don't know. I wanted to wait for you to watch it and for him to watch it before I made it public on that it's on the Excluded Metal channel. And I think once you finish up, we'll probably go ahead and post it. But it's interesting watching from my perspective how things play out in their life. And one of the things, like I talked with Jason about, was there's certain aspects that I see him doing this footstep action of things that I did. So kids around the same age, same struggles in school, you know, just different things. So there's good steps and bad steps, and then of course seeing the ones that he falls. And like I told him, when he acts a type of way, I'll tell him straight up, "You're acting just like your mom."
Yeah.
You know, and so, but it is interesting that even that influence, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's there in fashions that they only play out over time. You know what I mean? And so it was weird for me when Jeffrey went through this phase. Like, I mean, he's kind of back to what I would say dressing normal.
Yeah.
Jason always dressed kind of strange. I mean, and then it was like gym shorts and t-shirts and being a bum in high school. And then all of a sudden, like one day he started wearing Wranglers and boots.
Nice.
And I was like, what the?
Ties and
You know what I mean? And
I was like,
that just
yeah.
was not, well, I mean, it's whatever. And then I have Jeffrey who grew up wearing that stuff, cowboy hats and different things. And then all of a sudden, like I didn't see him for, I don't know, I mean, quite a while. He's living with his mom and he shows up and he's like, kind of dressed like a little gangbanger. And I'm just have that WTF moment. Like, what did I do for you to hate me so much? You know, like, why are you doing this?
Why do you have so many daddy issues?
Oh my God.
no, it's just bad influence. A friend who you surround yourself with, you can end up adapting to that environment, even if that's not who you are. And I found that out real quick.
Dude, you can find out a lot about a person by who they surround themselves with. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I had a buddy who like kind of grew up the same way that I did, and we like split ways for a while, and then we got back together, and he was acting the same way I was acting. We were hanging out with the same people, and I was like, "You kind of act like an idiot. You look really dumb." And I was like, hanging out with most of my buddies, they all dress like this. They're not want to be thugs or anything like that, and they'd be like, "Dressed like an idiot, dude." And I
I
was
wouldn't
like,
say you're dressed like a thug right now, man.
well, yeah, not right now.
I'm
No,
saying a few years ago.
I mean,
years
yeah,
back,
two,
when he was like 14,
Yeah.
15.
3 years ago, my pants would have been around my knees, and I would have been wearing Jordans.
You was a sagger, dude.
Oh, I was.
Mr.
It was
Dumas.
bad, dude.
We used to, he dressed like an island boy or something, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm
Dude,
glad
I-
you outgrew that, man.
I had dreadlocks whenever I first got back into wearing all this and stuff. I mean, I loved having dreadlocks just for the fact it's fairly easy to maintain. If they get bad, you just shave your head.
Yeah.
And
I
I've
got a
never-
buddy that does it too. He's got some real nice ones too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. It's fun, but definitely trying to be something I wasn't just because I liked some of the things that went along with it.
For sure. And I think the presentation of yourself says a lot too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like how we conduct ourselves, how we keep ourselves, you know what I mean? Keep cleaned up, on point, you know what I mean?
And that's something I was raised on. I mean, growing up, like I wasn't forced to wear like nice jeans or anything like that, but I wore cowboy boots every day to school all the way up until 4th grade.
Right.
I wore nice shirts, nice jeans. I mean, I remember
Button-up shirts.
Yeah, I remember I got I missed probably 6-7 weeks of PE because I refused to wear anything but cowboy boots. So
I've country through and through.
I had to watch all my friends play kickball while I was walking in the stands.
They wouldn't let you play with cowboy
No,
boots. I wonder
no.
why, man.
On the gym floor?
On the gym floor.
Oh, I was
No,
thinking
no.
outside.
No, we did
that
everything
would make
inside.
sense. Yeah, that would make
Jason's-
sense. Why didn't you
Jason's
just bring
PE
a
teacher was a Nazi.
Why
Oh,
didn't you
she's
just
bad.
bring like a
Jeffrey, I
tennis
mean.
shoe?
I did. I had shoes in my locker. My
you
parents,
just-
they
you were
bought
just
me
that
shoes.
stubborn. You're
Yeah,
like,
they
"Oh,
bought.
it's
I just,
here."
yeah, I
Dude,
just.
this kid had probably like 3 or 4 pairs of boots and he only wore one.
Yeah.
And he probably had at least half a dozen pairs of tennis shoes, basketball shoes, because they played all the sports, And yeah, I mean, now for football and baseball, you would change at least, and basketball once you're, second or third grade.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you guys.
1 to 5.
Yeah, you were a baseball player, huh? You still play at all anymore?
No, I got asked to join a softball league through a buddy, but I don't think I'm gonna do it.
Dude, you should
I didn't want
do
to
it.
tear a hammy or anything.
Dude, you're only 18, man.
Dude, I lifted.
Get
I
outta
was
here,
I was messing
man.
around the other day and I got up too quick and I went to lift up my son and I thought I was gonna die because I pulled a muscle in my back.
That means you should get out there and play.
Yeah,
'cause you
dude,
need some
I-
movement in
I
your
do,
life,
I
man.
do.
Movement is medicine, Jeffrey.
Dude, I've been
Yeah.
trying to tell my girlfriend that we need to get outside more.
Yeah, dude, you should. Yeah, you should pick up some softball. I mean, eventually, yeah, it's going to get so much. But I remember, I love baseball and I played softball. You
I
know,
want to start my own team because I mean my brother he's immaculate at baseball.
Yeah.
So like I got some athletic friends that used to play baseball and then high school coaches ruined that for them and they would probably dig getting into some softball.
you should do
fun.
some softball, man. You should, especially that time may come. I guess you got real little kids too, so eventually,
Yeah.
maybe they'll get a little older. That'll give you a little bit more freedom. You know what I mean? To movement.
Yeah.
and then you can.
Well, as you network
maybe
and
get
meet
out.
people that
Yeah.
have kids that similar age, so eventually Jackson will play some sports, and so then you're going to meet other parents that obviously the kids are the same age as you are, or your kids, and so then you kind of just immerse yourself in what they're doing too. So like a lot of them, I noticed, which I was coaching, but when we were playing baseball at Fun Valley, a lot of the parents were on a volleyball league that happened to be on the same night, so they'd be over drinking beer, playing in the sand while we're playing baseball, which is fine. I mean, I don't know. It's not as fun watching 5, 6, 7-year-olds play ball. I'm not going to lie. I always enjoyed coaching it, and that. But at the same time, that's what you naturally go to. And so you're like in this limbo, like even I think Sarah recognizes because she's just now, like Kai's just now playing sports. So she's just now meeting parents outside of the preschool. Like that was the parents she knew, she saw them every day. She got to know them. And now, so it's kind of like this networking thing where as you're moving through life and your kids are getting older, even some of your friendship dynamics will change. I mean, you grew up in Haven, so most of the people that were there, I mean, it was the same people.
Yeah.
In Hutch, it'll be different a little bit because if you move across town, your kid might go to a different school, and all of a sudden he's playing baseball on a different team, or until you get into junior high and high school or play competitive. But
Yeah.
it's just, I think that's part of the beauty of it is if you're willing to get out and do stuff. I mean, it turns into a lot of fun. I mean, just doing stupid little trips to zoos and I don't know, just ridiculous amounts of retardedness too, though.
We went to the zoo and I just left my phone in the car. I don't care about having a phone. And me and my son, we probably walked around for like 3.5 hours. Did not care. We had an amazing time. I loved it.
Yeah, no, that's good parts of it.
Yeah, man, you got to stay in action too. You know what I mean? You got to stay in movement, like I was saying earlier. Even because I think that's something I wish I would have done, and I would always try to when I was real younger. When I was having like little tiny ones running around, it was like I made excuses, like I didn't have time, no one to watch the kid. But then even at that time, like I could go back. Like, man, you got time. I mean, you got a floor and a carpet, man. You can put some work in. You know what I mean? So I would definitely start taking advantage of that. At least 30 minutes a day or something like that before you progress in age and it gets harder and harder and harder and harder.
I mean, I will say it is tough when the kids are little. Like it has to become routine, but getting everything just to go out. So, so you have a kid in diapers and you got to have some snacks. I mean, just the preparation alone is enough for me to be like,
yeah,
we're just going to stay home and do yard work, or, you know what I mean? Or
it's a full chore,
yeah.
man. Full chore.
And I mean, I will say, like, I think there is small town benefits to living in a small town. Is like, we live right by the pool. We live right by the ball fields. The kids could go all over town and not have to worry about anything. Whereas now it's like, I mean, you'll stroll through. People are creeps, dude. There's a lot of creeps in town right now because of the fair, Bunch of weirdos.
There's a bunch of weirdos when the fair ain't in town, man.
There's still weirdos when the fair ain't in town. I'm not disputing that. But,
Oh man.
I mean, and I don't know.
I think it just brings out something in people, maybe.
It's the weirdest thing. And
Different type of energy. I think it's a different type of energy when the fair pulls in, because I see people from Reno County, and I think it's just a different level of energy comes when that fair comes. It kind of brings its own energy with itself, and it's so big. It just kind of that collective in town just kind of grabs together, and then
you'll notice it at different times, like
weird.
when the NJCAA tournament comes, and there's just a lot of people here.
Yeah,
I mean, you notice. I think it's tangible. I myself have not been to the state fair in at least 16 years.
Man, I went there on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm going this Saturday.
When the boys were little, I would pay someone else to take them. Grandpa Phil and Grandma Judy would all chip in, and usually it was like, I mean, anybody. You're going with your kids, here's $500, take my boys with you. Spend the money as you will. Buy your kids something to drink. I don't care.
Yep.
Please don't make me go to the fair.
I remember one year I went with Jeff and Vicky, and
Usually that's...
Oh, it was so fun. And then Jeff, we had a bunch of tickets, and it was like 30 minutes till the end, dude. And he just started giving people tickets and letting us do like pretty much whatever we wanted. It was so fun.
Jeff is a lot of fun, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I miss him
No
being
rules.
my football coach.
Good grief.
Oh, a lot of running.
Yeah, you guys ran a lot. Good for you. Keeler likes running. I don't know if you knew that about him. He likes to run like...
I know. I seen.
He
the
likes to run like 50
marathon.
miles.
Yeah,
So.
I get a little intense, man.
Oh, dude.
I like to take it
I
to
will
those
say,
levels.
the people he gets to meet, I haven't met this guy, but I started following him on Facebook, the one that did the ultra out at Pratt or whatever.
Oh man, Coach Z.
Maybe that's not him.
He's the one that was at the Cheney one.
I don't know. Older guy?
I don't know.
I don't
There's
know.
a lot. Yeah, he's an older guy. He's probably in his 50s, I think.
Yeah.
54.
I'm following an ultra runner, Christian dude, and some of the stuff he puts out. I mean, and I love, like JVB.
Is it for hard?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
him.
That's him.
Yeah.
Okay. So like JVB,
Definitely a godly man.
a lot of his references will be to sports,
Yeah.
Particularly football. And I think he would probably go hockey, except for this is not a hockey area where he's from was.
Yeah.
And so, the comparison to the endure until the end.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yeah.
And him leading up to his races, and the feelings and he's so honest about stuff.
Oh man, and the way he words it, it's just
Well, he's
awesome.
obviously a very elegant rider.
Yeah.
And so he's obviously more than just an ultra marathoner. This guy's he's
Yeah.
got he's multi-talented.
Yeah.
I bet he would be an amazing speaker, and he probably is. I don't know if he does, events and stuff like that. But the rawness that you can feel, and of course he's great at capturing his photography too.
Yeah.
And so, and his face is so expressionful. I don't even know what the word would be. You could just read his face. I mean, it's just so there is something to it. Me and Trisha were talking about it today, and it's like I feel crummy today, and I don't know. I was sick a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if that crap's hanging on, but man, I was up all night coughing, and some of it, is just like I don't know how much damn Amish fire cider I need to drink. I guess all of it, but something's got to give eventually, and I think that there is some merit to getting out and doing stuff, and it becomes like like I was saying with Jeffrey, for him to get out and take Jackson is like, get cleaned up, get the baby dressed, load up all this stuff. Then we got to put him in the car, which isn't exactly his favorite thing to do, is get strapped in a car seat probably,
Yeah, but at times I think we put too much thought process in. Like I was saying earlier, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get out and do anything, man.
Yeah.
Like you could just grab your key. Like, dude, I came across a memory today on my phone from like 8 years ago. Dude, it brought tears to my eyes, man. I had my youngest. He was probably,
It'd have been around 8.
he'd be around 8, 10, maybe. I don't know, 10-ish. So maybe 6 years. I think, yeah. So I think it was 6 or 8. I can't remember on the memory. But he'd have probably been around 10. I got him on my shoulder. It's nighttime. We snapped a picture, and it was just me and him walk. I think we walked to the quick shop down the street. Man, I'm kind of tearing up right now talking about it, man. And it was my last one. I mean, even in that moment, because I got 4 boys, so I hadn't even recognized it in that moment. Like, I think I even posted about it. It was like, this is my last one I can still throw up on my shoulders and,
Right.
and walk with. And I'm telling you, man, especially as you grow, man, and all these moments, dude. It's like capture those moments, man, especially with your family, man, especially with your kids, because that's what it's about. And that's gonna speak more into that kid's life and to anything that you could get him from this materialistic world and provide him. You know what I mean? It's those memories. It's that love, of a father. You know what I mean? To a son, to a daughter, whatever that may be. You know what I mean? Because I know you got the other one coming, so I don't. So it's like, whatever that is, that's what I would say that you grab hold of, man, and make those moments. Like I said, you don't have to pack up a bag or do anything. Throw that kid on the shoulder, man. If he's walking a little bit, throw him down here. You know what I mean? Drop on the ground, knock out some push-ups, man. You know what I mean? Play some ball. I mean, just little stuff like that. It's just like you can go back in time. I can in my memory process, and I don't remember much of anything, but what I do remember are those moments. You know what I mean? I can bring those forth. And like I said, man, they'll get you emotional for a moment.
Yeah, they're so heartfelt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that is a huge deal. So Jeffrey's going to be a girl dad.
Yeah.
And so for me and you, who have like zero idea, because I only reared boys, you only reared boys. Yeah. That's one of the things that me and Jace talked about was like how.
So you're going to have another girl then?
I only have the son and then a girl on the way.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
And luckily, Jackson's beefy.
Jason has the girl, right?
Jason has Harper, which is
Harper. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
And then Delaney's his biological daughter with Lindsay.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they got Benjamin.
Okay.
So he's girl, boy.
Yeah.
And
so you'd
like
be boy,
Sarah's,
girl.
Which I think pink goggles, blue goggles. Moms are different than dads, but Sarah's got Kai, then Abel, then Theone. So she's got 2 girls and a boy. And I don't know. I know my dad jokingly, and I think everybody's heard it, so I don't necessarily have to repeat it, but there's a difference between having boys and girls, and this idea that plays out with it. That, I mean, I don't know. It makes me nervous. Like, when I met Trish, her daughters were 18. So I had zero, maybe some influence, but they didn't live with us or anything really per se. From time to time, they stayed with us. But, dude, if I had girls, they would probably have never left the house.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's definitely scary.
Mainly just because, like, I knew myself at that age, and I watched, my kids and that, you know what I mean? And so I'm just like, and I don't know, just the world just eats people up and spits them out. And I think it's tougher. There again, the family aspect plays into it, but
yeah, Jeffrey, what is your thought process? Because you just kind of try to speak in there on that of you're about to have a girl because you have the boy right now. How old's your boy?
Oh, he's just over 1.
Oh, dang! See, boom. Yeah. So what? So I guess because I guess we understand the boy aspect of it to a point. So what is your what are your thought process on a girl now? You're gonna have a girl coming into the world, and what that does in your head.
I mean, I really, really hope like I can instill in my kids like families, everything. Like eventually, like me and your mom are gonna die. We're gonna go on. And it's just gonna be you guys left in this world. So I'm hoping that my older children protect my younger children, of course, and all that. But having a girl like as my second child, because I wanted 3 boys and a girl as my last child. And then, but having it right there in the second, it's definitely terrifying, especially seeing like the people I grew up with, like my age, weren't necessarily the best of females. I have a friend that's still currently probably not the best of females, but and it definitely worries me.
So, what did you see? See, I'm trying to think of how we could maybe talk on that a little bit. What did you see in the women that you said that were kind of, not the best of the best, I should say.
They were just.
What did you see in them that you think created that within them?
I mean, a lot of them came from like broken homes and stuff like that, watching their parents cheat on each other. There's not a lot of loyalty in this world, and I want to instill that in my children, but I mean, I can't make up their morals. I can't do that.
So you would say would you say that they were lacking a solid foundation?
Yep. Sorry,
go ahead.
I believe some of it just might be off of like that's all you know, that's all you've been taught, and I mean some people only know not to be honest and to be dishonest and to be that type of way.
So how would you go about then bringing in about that stronger foundation within that family unit for your daughter
I mean,
or your
just
son, for that matter.
just making sure that they know what's right and like what's wrong. Definitely having the good book around helps a lot. Me and Mariah's relationship and morals see a lot eye to eye on that, so that helps out a lot. And I mean, I didn't go to church every day or like all the time growing up, but I went a fair amount, and I feel like that helped a lot with keeping me on a straight track with not being that way with women or anything like that. And so I just hope that if I can teach my daughter to be safe, she'll be okay, rather than turning her out loose into the world and her
Yeah.
acting like most of the women that are coming from broken homes, or having the boys treat her like most of the boys treat women out here that come from broken homes.
Right, and then if you know, and then I would also say too, man. I would say this would be where you would have to take in too, and you would need to build that foundation that's strong, which that puts a lot on you at 18. And you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe if someone would have set me aside at that age, it might have been a little bit better too. But I mean, that is for you. You know what I mean? To begin to build that foundation. That is for you to show that strength, man. And and that is hard to do, especially at 18, man.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. Go ahead.
You like, as a young man, you're still trying to find out like exactly what you want in your life and how you want to base things, and you don't have a lot of time to do that when you're raising young children at the same time.
Yeah, and I think I think ultimately we know what we want, but I think when you start implementing those younger minds, like your children, then I think a lot of times we find out that our wants maybe weren't as much as we wanted them to be, and then our wants begin to more focus around those
Our
little
children.
ones, man. Your generation, you know what I mean? The next generation that's coming up, you know what I mean? And what a better moment now than to take advantage of that, you know what I mean, and begin to transform that next generation and show them something different that I
Then-
guess what you were saying a lot we're missing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not doing the best right now, and
Yeah,
so
man.
especially here in America, there's a lot of dishonesty in people and stuff like that. So
Yeah, so I think that, and I would say that is a good characteristic of the male figure, of the father figure, you know what I mean, is integrity.
yeah.
Absolutely. Quality of character is a huge thing.
Huge.
People
man.
remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, even years down the line, it's a lot easier for people to remember the bad things you do than the good. I assure you that.
Yeah, and to be that strong too. I mean, the amount of sacrifice that takes, an amount of just selflessness, you know what I mean, that takes.
I got nothing.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're
man.
all just staring at each other.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting here thinking, you know what I mean, of like, starting with a kid at 18, you know what I mean, to begin rooting that out once again and implementing just so much of a more of a strength, you know what I mean, and of a strength of goodness, of, you know what I mean, that would create such ripples of greatness, ripples of Christ, ripples of just, you know what I mean?
We only get one shot at it.
Yeah.
I was a real shithead when Jason was born. I mean,
Yeah.
I was causing lots of problems. And not that I got a lot better when Jeffrey was born. I mean, I would say probably in consideration I did. But at the same time, it's like, you can't undo those things. And you can't go back. So it was like, in my mind, it's like, all right, I'm having another kid. It's my chance to get my life together and do it right this time. As if, you know what I mean? Like, and it had nothing to, I don't know. And I think part of that kind of played into like the way that we're coached in recovery and in treatment, and different ways. But, yeah, it's not like there's a do-over. I know a lot of my friends that have grandkids and they act like that's their do-over in life.
Yeah.
They sucked at raising their kids, so they're like going to step up and be there for their grandkids.
But I think you have to, but at a point too, though, I think you have to begin to, like, if we're going into generational type curses on that, that kind of brings into my mind, it would be almost to that individual, like to you, you know what I mean? We have to begin to break those curses down within us,
Oh, yeah.
those generational, that bondage, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
begin to break free from that. And then that then can be poured in, which I would say be Christ-like, you know what I mean, being poured into your children, and then they can pour that into their children. So therefore, you begin to change. You begin to change those generations. Man.
It's
Yeah.
a whole nother battle.
Yeah.
I mean, the spiritual warfare and the implications that come with it. And then, of course, right back to the book where it says, that we have to, I mean, it's commanded to endure, not suggested. I mean, it says to. And I don't know, there's such a breakdown. I don't know. I just I think that there is an uptick in younger people going to church, but at the same time, you know, we're a little behind the game now. You know what I mean?
I don't know. As long as there's breath in the lungs, man. There's
Well,
breath.
yeah, I'm not disputing that, but
Yeah.
it depends on which
But yeah.
side of it depends on which side of the street you're on.
I also think that
From
that
our
side's
perspective-
really loud though too, man. So I think
What's that?
I think that like you're saying, you know what I mean. But I think that side or however those that I think they're just really loud, really vocal. So you hear a lot of it. I think it's better than what people seem to think it is.
What
That's
do you
what
mean?
I'm saying.
Younger generation attending church.
I'm saying. Well, no, I'm saying yeah. As far as going to church, I'm saying as far as doing better, like his generation,
Yeah.
and like beginning to make changes and doing things that will bring about a greater change, will make stronger
Right.
people. I think you're beginning to see it more.
So his age would be the uptick.
Yeah,
18
that's
to
what I mean.
21.
Yeah.
You go from like 25
Exactly.
to 35 and start asking and
no, I'm
looking
saying
at the numbers.
I'm talking his.
That's where
Yeah.
where a lot of lack of church attendance was happening.
Yeah.
And a lot of it came to the just how busy society is. So you think like two generations. So
I'm saying 10-year generate like we look at a 10-year generation. I'm saying
generation.
you're 18, so I'm saying probably anywhere from the people who are let's say 12 years old right now to 22. All right.
you'll see an uptick. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
College age kids down to teens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then so you go one generation ahead, which I think we're the tail end of a church generation. And Jason and I look so like a generation runs about 30 years is what it would show. So like, you know, like before my dad, they were traditionalists, and my dad was a baby boomer. And then you have like the Generation X and millennials and Generation Z.
Man, I was saying, you think 30 years on? I knew you guys
looked
were
it
talking
up.
about it. I was thinking more like maybe 15 to 20.
Well, so and they vary a little bit. So like for me, what I thought was strange is, you know, I was born in '80, so I'm at the very start of this generation or millennial movement. I guess I'd have to look it up
It's
again.
millennials. Millennials started in 81.
Yeah, and so tail end of baby boomer, whatever, or
No,
Generation
Gen
X
Z. Gen Z
is the newest.
would be.
Gen X, millennials.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Possibly. Anyways,
And baby boomers were before the
and it's
X.
besides the point.
Yeah.
The point is that somewhere in this middle of this generation, kind of people stop taking church very serious, stop going, and that would be like, I mean, I would be part of that. So
Do you think they just stopped taking church seriously, or do you think they started taking holiness not so seriously?
Both, a little bit of both. A lot of lukewarm Christians, but there was always something else. So, like for my boys growing up, we played baseball every weekend, even through the fall. We played Friday, Saturday, Sunday baseball. There's 52 weeks in a year. I would say 30 weekends, 35 weekends we played ball. So our church attendance was minimal at best. And then other things were going on, like in the fact that we weren't rooted in a church necessarily. Like we'd go with my dad some, or we'd go visit, you know, different places with other friends. The kids mostly grew up at Haven Baptist, I would say, and Cross Point. And so there's definitely, I can see that some of their moral compass came from the minimal, you know, being there. The small town moral compass helps, obviously, too. But I mean, and I don't know this. There again, this is based on statistics from Pew Research, and it just shows these age differentials of church attendance. And so, these guys that were in their mid 20s to mid 30s that weren't taking their young kids to church are now in their mid 40s to mid 50s, and you'll see an uptick there too. They're coming back to the church, and some of it is. Has to do with their kids going. I mean, to be quite honest, their 18, 19, 20-year-old kids are in college and having these Asbury revival moments, and then they're bringing that home, and all of a sudden you see a whole family's going back to church because of this younger generation, which is great. That's the way it should have been going all along. But I think that that's where some of this degradation and family and all these things, it all plays into the same stuff, you know. I didn't grow up in a church where there was a lot of single moms or dads, to be quite honest. And to be truthful, when my parents got divorced, weirdly enough, even though my dad was like the treasurer and did a lot, he was a deacon at the church, they outed him.
I was going to say, I went to a church when I was younger that they would out you. Like if a woman had a,
They let my
a
mom-
kid,
they let
out
my
of
mom
wedlock,
stay.
They would like pretty much stand up and just out you in front of everybody. And it's like, and then what do you think the church created at that point? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Who wants to go to that?
But it wasn't, and I shouldn't say, when I
Hard
say
pass.
outed, they kicked him out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They just basically
Yeah.
ran him out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then
Outed
when he
him,
went
booed
to
him
go
out.
to a
Yeah.
similar church and they found out he was divorced, they ran him out of there too.
Yeah. So why you want to go to church, man?
Well, I mean, I think, well,
I wouldn't want to go to church, man.
I think I understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
my dad was dedicated. He kept going until he found a church that
Yeah.
said, "Listen, come on in," and that's the beauty of where we go now.
But you think, that's what my saying is that created this, and that created this. So then you have generation after generation being basically bringing about that, which then that steps them away from church, that steps them away from holiness because they're not loved, they're not welcome. In fact, they're getting outed, and that's why that creates, in my opinion, that would create the lies and the deceit because they have to lie and deceit. Otherwise, they're going to get outed. And,
or the extreme
and
is the
ostracized,
church
you know?
is where anything goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say Reformed Baptist has a real
I would say-
traditional mindset and traditional rules. And one of the things that is spoke of in Scripture, and even Andy preached on this the first time I was getting divorced from Jeffrey's mom. If you're getting a divorce, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah,
You know
would
what I
say
mean?
Yeah.
And it really weighed on me to the point of like I had to go get counseling over it, and my dad and Jen are both like, "No, he's wrong. You're getting the divorce. You're miserable. Your kids are miserable." And I'm like, "But this and this and this," and then in the end, I ended up getting back with her anyways for another 5 years. But it's still, I mean, I respect. I mean, Dad knew what he was signing up for when he signed up because of the tradition and the rules of the church. Now, what was weird was my mom had everybody convinced that my dad was the bad guy, and that just wasn't the case. So she's going in there playing a victim like he's like this terrible, abusive, whatever it is, and she was the one that was the abusive one.
Yeah, I would just say it just comes down to creating, strong, like I always say, man, strong boundaries and don't create barriers. You know what I mean? Because you're not trying to boot everybody out, but no, you can't just have this, everything goes good and everything
Well, it's
that
about
works.
balance. It has
Yeah,
to be
that's what
about
I mean.
balance.
You can't just start kicking people out because they made mistakes or whatever else. I mean, heck, man.
Well, that's not
I'll
what
be
the
the
book
first one
says.
getting booted, dude. That's probably why I quit going to church so long ago.
There's a process behind it, you know.
But I
what
don't
mean?
lack in holiness, man. I'll tell you that much. You know what I
Well,
mean? If we look at it like that.
It depends. I mean, if you read your Bible and you're not meeting a community, then you are lacking in holiness.
I would say I
That's
am
what-
meeting a community, though, right?
Right, but I'm
yeah,
but
man.
you
I
have
don't
to
want to
be in
have this
community.
conversation right now, man.
Well,
I mean, we
I mean-
can though if you want to.
But-
Just because, so you're going to say the fact that I don't attend church on a weekly basis or a monthly basis or whatever, you would deem me unholy and lack holiness.
You're I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. If you're totally isolating yourself and doing those things, then that's not, the book says to live in community.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I'm isolating myself. I would say I'm in constant communion with God. I would say I'm having regular prayer time. I'm having regular community time. In fact, I would take this as community.
I would
as
always
well.
argue the point that the Bible calls us to be in community.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, I think in Hebrews it says, "Don't forget to neglect to meet together like others do." And I think it's important, whether it's through Bible study or church or whatever, but it has to be somewhere where a gospel message is the front and center message. Now, how that community shakes out could be a lot of different ways. The way the church looks in 2024 is not the same it looked in 2000 or 1980.
Right.
Let alone go back into the 1800s where church was like real churchy, real strict. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think how they, but they did exactly what the Bible says, and it says if you're a part of the church and you're saying that I'm a Christian and you're caught in sin, it's actually worse for me to not call you out than it is for me to allow you to live in sin. Right? The bigger sin is me not going to you as a brother and saying, "Hey, man, you're slipping." That is the bigger sin comparably to what you are doing.
I would say as long as you're removing the thorn from yours before you attack another.
Well, that comes
you know
down
what
to
I
the
mean?
whole judgment debate and all those things. But you obviously have to apply it. And Matthew, the Sermon on the Mount, I mean, always Matthew 7 has to play into this.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say, "I see you over there being promiscuous," You need to knock it off. While you yourself are being promiscuous, now you're a hypocrite. That is, now we're both in sin. But if you're, so say a deacon or someone from the church came to me and said, hey man, you know, I really, you need to start watching your mouth.
Right.
Or there's going to be a consequence. Well, then the next consequence is they're going to make me go in the front of the church and ask for prayer, basically. I mean, that's what the book says to do.
Well, yeah, then I would say
know?
that would be creating strong boundaries.
But
You
then
know
at
what I
the
mean?
same time, the book does say after so many times, put him out, turn him over to Satan, and wait for it and see if he comes back.
Yeah.
You know, and so there is this point where I mean, and so for my dad, I guess from point A to point B, that happened very quickly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's removed from his office at the church and he's no longer a deacon. And that's when he knew, he's like, well, I guess I'm not coming back to this church, you know?
Yeah.
And so it is, but I
Hey,
mean,
well, good thing we got a church on every corner, man.
yeah, you could pick your poison, you know what I mean? And there again, I mean, it's even, I don't know. I mean, you could look at it through so many perspectives. And that's why I would stand on, I think that's where I see that tradition matters greatly, is because tradition doesn't allow this instant change.
Right.
Because we go back and we look at the tradition of the church and in the scripture, and then we look at the tradition of the church from the early church writings, and then see how that plays out. And now all of a sudden we have 186 different views of one thing.
Yeah.
And we're trying to look to a universal Christ with that, and it always amazes me. At some point, we're all going to be standing, and everything will be made known. And I just have a feeling that some of the people, me included, I mean, I'm just going to be like,
I don't think we'll be standing, man. If you're going by the book, I think it says every knee shall bow and confess.
well, I get that, but I'm just. Every day at once. I'm just saying.
I'm just thinking towards the tail end. I was thinking about
for
that
eternity,
too.
that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that's gonna happen.
Well, no,
That
I'm saying at the
judgment.
very end. Yeah,
Yeah.
every knee shall bow.
Does that mean everybody's getting in?
That's what I was wondering
Yeah.
too, man. I have that thought process, man. Like if every knee shall bow and confess that Jesus is Lord, you know what I mean? At that point, does everybody get in?
What about the ones that went before us?
Involved. I imagine the timeline doesn't. I don't think time exists. My God exists outside of it.
I know that's Luke 9, or I think it is Lazarus and the rich man. You know, gives us a glimpse of what the afterlife looks like,
Yeah.
and so
Sure.
so there's still
No,
this
Jesus has
knowing.
the keys to it.
There's
too.
this knowingness of I was warned and I didn't make it. You know what I mean? Because the rich man wants to come back and warn his family,
Yeah.
and the response from whoever, it says Abraham, I guess.
Maybe
is
everybody gets in, but there's levels to everything.
they wouldn't have believed if they didn't believe the books and they didn't believe the prophets and they didn't believe Moses. Why are they going to believe you? You know? And he's like, well, I've seen it. Well, so did they.
Yeah.
You know. And so I don't know. That's another reason why. I mean, that's why community is important, because you're gonna. Even Jeffrey touched on this with him in his early age. It's like he went from acting a type of way to acting another type of way, heavily influenced by the people he was around.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's why it's
Always follow
important.
God, man. Let that be your guide.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I have a question. So as you know, my aunt Joey just passed away recently. She kind of didn't mock Christianity or anything like that, but she mocked the continuous praise and worship of it, and like me and Jason always said God is good before like we left each other and whatnot, and she kind of mocked that. So how do you think her influence into meeting the Lord would be like?
Well, I mean, you go to the book with that, and my immediate thought always, and I'm glad that this happened in my life, even though it was one of the most awkward moments ever, was when a guy that worked for my granddad, his sister was killed in a wreck. They were drinking and carrying on all the time. They were sledding on a blacktop, and she got smoked by a car. And the truck driver that hauled our cows says, well, she's in a better place. And Grandpa Bob looked him dead in the eye with the most serious look and said, you don't know that. And there's so much truth in that. And me, I mean, I was probably 12, but I knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I have to think about that with anybody. I have to think about that myself. Keeler and I talked about here 50 episodes ago or so. even if we knew we weren't getting into heaven, would it change what we do on earth right now? And for me and him, our answer was both. It was no. You know what I mean? It doesn't change anything that we're doing. We're still going to reach people. We're still going to do what the book tells us to do. Simple answer is we don't know till we get there. The easiest evidence to me to make a human judgment on someone getting in is their life. But then you have these. Ravi Zacharias was a very well-known apologist. He was a preacher. He passed away, and then after the fact of his passing, they realized that he was very sexually promiscuous and almost abusive. So he did. Now, how does that shake out? Is he in heaven?
People can put on good shows, man.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't really know.
Also, they could just be having a lot of pain and hurt.
So
you know what I mean? You don't
broken,
know.
yeah.
Like, look at the woman at the well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a perfect example that shows up. You know what I mean? She had a jacked up life.
But you have to think that the
several
woman at the
partners.
well changed her heart condition. You know what I
Doesn't
mean?
say. But
Well,
I would think so with the run in with Jesus, and I don't know. You know what I mean? All I would think.
It doesn't say.
Yeah.
It doesn't say like today you'll be with me in paradise, but
Well, no, but it was
it
just.
gives fair indication that based. I mean, it would seem that Jesus' words of wisdom and truth, probably, and the fact that he knew her without, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
You
He
know.
knew her, man. So you don't know, man.
So
He
it
may
is.
know. He may have known her. He may not have. I don't know.
Yeah.
For me to put any type of human judgment on that, I would think, I can't. I'm not going to.
Well, I mean, the majority of human judgment will say that she's in a better place, and I mean, I just think the answer is we don't know.
I don't know.
I'm saying from a human standpoint, the evidence of someone being a Christian in good standing is based on their works, you know, and so when you, at the end of the day, when someone passes away and you look back on their life, you know, even I have to think of even mine, and that's where it comes down to, like in James, it talks about, you know, the willingness to judge yourself. And the people that are caught up in sin are like a man in the mirror who walks away and quickly forgets what he looks like, you know, because and that talks into lukewarm Christianity. And then I think I'm pretty sure it's Paul, and I can even begin to think where that it's talks about working out your salvation with fear and trembling. And so I think that those are things that show that we can tangibly see and feel in others that show good cause to say, you know, to get up at a celebration of life and say, I truly believe that this person's in a better place based on the way that they live their life. But then there again, like I said, you have this well-known pastor who by all accounts was a great Christian apologist and did a lot for the Reformed Church and the church as a whole. And then after death, find out this, you know. Billy Graham at the end of his life, you know, really went against a lot of what he preached on, and a lot of what he was saying was heretical. But there again, I mean, I don't think he swayed his opinion. I think that his kids didn't do him any favors, and they let him preach too long, to be quite honest, because he was already suffering from, you know, some things that old people suffer from, you know. And they should have just pulled him away from the microphone a little, maybe 2 years earlier. So, yeah, so how do you know? I mean, I think one of the things that Joey did do well is that she loved people, especially kids. You know, she had a terrible amount of patience for kids, maybe not other people, you know. I don't know. I really wasn't around her a lot the last few years, so I couldn't speculate on that. And so, but what hurts my heart is the idea of what I do know and that nobody intervened beforehand, you know.
Yeah, and so how do you feel about, I mean, because it says in the Bible that your body's God's temple, so how do you feel about people who cause their deaths by not taking proper care of their body
Or suicide.
or suicide, or even, I mean,
There's a lot of theology that believes if you commit suicide, you're not getting in.
Well, I think he was talking about, like, not necessarily suicide, but just
Like
not
just-
taking care of your physical
I mean-
aspect.
I
You know,
mean-
as far as diet, as far as exercise, as far
yeah,
as,
I mean,
you know.
they told Joey
working
that if she
accordingly.
doesn't pick up her health, she's going to pass away at some point. I mean, do you think situations like that, those people are
They
less
have
likely
seven.
to...
They have 7 deadly sins listed, and it depends on your theology. If you believe in venial sin and more, and sin that leads to death, which is, I can't even think what it's called now. There's a word for it. But so like venial sin is sin that separates you from God, and the deadly sins are the ones that separate you from God permanently.
Yeah.
You know, so venial would be a temporary separation from God. The other would be you ain't getting in. I don't know. I mean, there's so much theology and all those things, and I love the way that JVB puts it. Thankfully, I'm not the judge.
Yeah, and I think we are to take care of whether that keeps you from, going or being saved. I think that's besides the point. But I think we are called to action to take care of our mind, our body, and our soul. It is our three things. You can look at that as almost the Trinity: the mind, body, and soul. And if you're lacking in any of those, you're lacking in all of them.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
So it would just be a matter of, that's why I would say your physical aspect is to take care of, your diet's to take care of. You should be in good shape. You should be putting in working to get into that shape.
Yeah.
You should be watching what you consume. You should be checking your mind, filtering your thought process. Be cautious of what you're putting into your mind. And then on the spirit side, you know what I mean? Are you worshiping? Are you praying? Are you in communion? Do you have a healthy community, et cetera, et cetera? And then you have all three of those, you are a powerful force for the kingdom of God.
Yeah. What I do know is after death, what's done is done.
Yeah.
You know, it's like these young kids that are overdosing on fentanyl, having no idea what they're really even doing. They haven't even experienced life. That once the ticker stops ticking, so does your time before you meet God. And you know, I've heard other people say, I don't believe this personally, but like after death, you do get this opportunity, you know, because you're going to face judgment. And I feel kind of what the book leads into is that, you know, the decision's already been made based on your free will choice. And, you know, I don't know. There's so much theology and doctrine, and Keeler and I have talked about once saved, always saved a few times, you know, different things like that. But you know, there's this too much to it. I think that there's a testimony on both sides, so you could use this testimony of that Joey was such this great person, and I mean, I could eat shit on this deal for saying it, but I just feel like this is true from my opinion because she did these certain things. Or you could use this testimony and be like, Joey died at 38 years old because she was a terrible alcoholic. And the one thing that she could have used to be set free, she chose to ignore, and that was God.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been right there for her. I mean,
yeah.
Me and Jason have tried getting her to go to church and stuff like that. It's not like she's.
No, and I think her influence from other people sucked.
Yeah.
And I'm not
gonna get into that.
No.
Yeah, so instead of drawing near, she continuously just put the barrier and drew away.
She surrounded herself with people that were going against that, and I feel like that's what happens a lot with this generation too. Is if your friends don't go to church, and you're not going to go to church because that's not what they're doing. It's really easy to get outcasted nowadays, and I mean, I have seen a lot more kids that are going through high school and they're later years of high school going back to church, like you guys said. It starts back in the younger generations, but definitely growing up and being around your influence puts a lot of determinant on what you're going to do, even as in older ages.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think right. I think as you slowly move and progress, regardless, you need to be continuously to draw near, and if those are trying to push you away or keep you at a distance from God, I would say you need to create better boundaries or separation there and begin to draw near, whether that's excluding somebody or whatever you got to do. But I think that would be your main vocal point of relationship. Well, I like how you
get your life together and be solid on your foundation, and then you go back in and drag them out of the pits of hell.
I would like to retort my statement too, where the mind, body, and soul, and if you're lacking in one of those, you're probably lacking in all three. I don't know necessarily if that's the case, but I think if you don't have a good balance of those,
you're going to be out of whack.
Yeah, you're not going to be as strong as you should be. Like your physical aspects could be clear up to here, but if your mind's here, spiritual's here, or whatever, you're just, like you said, out of whack. I like that. So you're a little out of whack. So if you have good balance between the three, I think again you're just you're more of a useful tool to be used.
The struggle's different then too.
Yeah.
And like my dad said, pulling people out of the fire, even if I'm not going to heaven because of the sins I've done and the stuff that I've done, I can at least try to help as many people and help them find the Lord and be saved as possible.
Yeah.
That's why I say I think it changes nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Doesn't change anything. Doesn't change the mission. Doesn't change the purpose. So let us move forward with greatness and endure till the end, man.
Love your enemy and
I love you,
feed him.
Jeffrey.
Ugh.
I love seeing you, Keeler. You're probably my favorite person on this earth.
Oh, here we go, man. Here
Not
we go.
Not his dad.
No.
See, I bet it was when he was younger. Like I said, you know what I mean. As like I said, man. Whatever when they're youngsters, man, kids you'll be their hero. Then I don't know. At some point, at a kid's age, he's like, man, my dad isn't as awesome as I thought. He's still awesome.
He's still as
That's
cool
what
as he
I mean.
was. I always seen through the bull crap.
That's what I mean. But there's a certain point I can't remember. I don't know what it is. But I mean, we're still awesome. But I think I don't know. I think we're still the hero, Ryan. You know what I mean, Aunt Jeffrey? Because
Yeah.
you're coming up. What I think it is I think they begin to see our true human characteristics.
Yeah.
Like
Some of
we
those-
are human. We're not the superhero that they thought we were actually human.
Yeah,
And
some
they
of
see
those
our
dynamics do
human
change.
nature.
And I mean, now before Jeffrey was a dad, you know what I mean? And now that he's a dad, and it's just like Trisha's daughter gave her a coffee cup, and it's the sweetest thing. And it was from Sarah, who has kids, and it says, "Dear Mom, I get it now." You know what I mean? And
I understand.
I truly believe, like through all the fighting and the pushback and all those things, and I'm talking about Sarah and Trish, and disagreements on stupid stuff like you should use this diet or whatever. And it's like, I get it now. This hindsight is the beauty. And I don't know, I went to my dad and told him that way later in life, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I've had interesting conversations with Jason about that. There's these glimpses of, all right, I get it, And then there's also the fact that I was a terrorist part of my life. And so, using extremes,
He said there was a point where I was a terrorist.
Well,
I wouldn't go that
can't-
far,
I
Ryan,
can't go
but,
back, but I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't a good dad, and so I can't go back and correct that. I just have to try to be a good dad now.
Yeah, I think
and try to lead by example. You know what I mean?
I think as you come up, man, I think what you'll find out, you're going to come to find out that it takes a lot of forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of gratitude and a lot of praise, man. That 3-piece heaven combo, baby.
That's it. For real.
Yeah.
Ready to wind her down, Keeler?
Oh yeah, man.
We're like way over our time.
Oh, we are too.
Oh, yeah.
It was good chatting.
People only watch the first 15 minutes usually, so they're going to hear all about pissing in urinals.
Yeah.
I love you,
It
kid.
was good seeing you.
Yeah.
Keeler, I love you.
Love you, man.
We love you guys.
Yeah, one love.
See you
Shalom.